Mm, mm. I mean, game dev is actually very fun, to be honest. It's very fun, and it opens you up to like a lot of things you didn't know you did not know. It was when I was doing game development I realized I didn't know a lot of things. It made me question my my engineering knowledge, my understanding of what physics truly means. My mathematics is it's actually tested a lot on my math skills, especially this what's this thing, the vector, right? It tested me to the max. And the thing is, most people can actually get away without knowing all these things, right? But given the kind of background I have, I feel like these things I've learned before, they are things I should be able to apply in what I'm doing right now. Yeah, so that gives me even more problem. It gives me more problem. I just want to like, I want to be sure this thing I know it. Your understanding of 3D might even just shift. Yeah, you truly understand what 3D means. You truly understand what 3D means. Like, you doing 3D on paper with this matrix or with any kind of other mathematical method, it feels like a babyish way of doing it where they are just pampering you. But when you actually do the real 3D business, you would, when you get to things like using CAD softwares, right? These 3D softwares to build engineering models, to do simulations. That is when your brain, yeah, your brain starts to rethink your entire understanding of the things you thought you knew. So, I mean, it's fun, but bro, it's been eye opening, to be honest. Like I said, it just makes me understand or realize a lot of things I didn't know I did not know. Yeah. So, oh boy, I'm trying to let me see. What am I trying to do now? Okay, I think I'm live on Facebook and YouTube. Then, okay, these people from the class, I already said it in my mind that I would not actually be sharing any link to them. I took my wife's chin chin. She must not know it's here. After saying I don't want like chin chin. No, I think I wanted something different. Was why, to be honest, I was looking to get, but I didn't find the flavor I wanted. Thank you. That's fair though. You can just maybe message them or something. Okay. Um, mm, okay. What's the issue? I'm not sure we even got to that part, anyways. In our class, is what I'm saying. Okay. Maybe we just like maybe we schedule another class specifically for Git and GitHub. So WhatsApp is annoying on web. Let me just close it. Okay. Okay, my mic is on. What's the name of this software I use locally? I'm looking for the software I added the course outline for. Okay, Appflow. Yeah, I remember I added notes or something. Okay, let me bring in a browser here. I'm not sure I want to go over um why you should use React, but I would go over things you can do with React. Maybe a little bit of why. Maybe a little bit of why you should use React as well. Okay. So if you are in that general group chat for code with structure, you can just maybe send them a message as well. Because even some people that would ask for um class or whatever, they might not show up still. So oh, okay, okay, thanks. I think I'm just hungry for a weird reason. Okay. And you guys are actually lucky that you are getting to meet the more, let me say, less annoying part of React, which is React 19. So, anyways, wow. Okay. So, React. To simply put, you'll be wondering, why can't you just use your plain old HTML to build React, to build your web applications? Right? Why? The question is not too straightforward, and it's a very, very highly debated question as well. Why should I use HTML instead of React? Hmm? So, my simple but not so simple answer is that React is oh boy. I don't want to pollute your understanding of React, but basically, React is a UI library, right? It's a UI library. You said? Yeah, yeah. So React is a UI library that you can use to build user interface for the web, and they poke nosed and they were able to do for native applications as well, or the native interface. That's like mobile application, desktops, TV applications, wristwatch application, and even cross-platform like Android and iOS, right? they were able to poke their nose into those ones as well. But for the web, they have a very intuitive way of building components, of doing. I think they have a lot of cool features you might not be able to explain until you actually start talking about them. For instance, you can better organize your projects, like component with components based patterns. You can do things like shared state management that might not be too available when you are using raw HTML. Sorry, that might not be too available when you're using raw HTML, right? That have a lot of cool advantages like that. Okay, then actually need water. It's a bad idea stealing chinching and not stealing water. Bad idea. So the lesson is when you steal chinching, I'm new to the business. When you steal chinching, remember to steal water. Uh, I need to plug my PC. I don't trust the NEPA in my area. So moving on. It's only in Nigeria you plug your PC and it has 87 and you still plug it again. They've traumatized us. Okay. So React can be written in, at least I know of, two ways. You can write React. You can either use their APIs, that's the React APIs, right? You can use them to build your application, or for people that have more, that need their sanity, you use something called GSX. GSX is it stands for JavaScript markup language actually. So it's like a combination of JavaScript and HTML in a single syntax. For instance, if you check this code that is here, let me zoom this in a bit. Uh, so if you check what they have here, right, you'll be seeing, you see this code here says this is a function, like a JavaScript function, and you are returning HTML code inside of that function. How is it possible? That is what JSX is. It allows you to do some abominations like what we can see here, right? Which is a very cool abomination. I would like to sell React a little bit, even though I'm not their fan. So uh, you can do something like this, right? Using React, you can. I mean, the way the entire component has been abstracted, where you have a very nice interface to build your application, is actually very insane and impressive at the same time, right? So, yeah, so we'll be using the GSX pattern for writing our React. I'm not going to be part of the insane people, so I'm going to be part of the sane people because I like my mental health. So yeah, it's a very cool way to write your user interface. You can have reusable components. You don't have to repeat logics, and it offers along with TypeScript, it offers you let me, don't let me misuse the word typeset, but along with TypeScript, right, and React, your front end, you can avoid seeing things like undefined on your front end. There were times you would open some even bank applications and you would see an error message that says something like undefined or none or something like. I mean, you might, that's with TypeScript, I'm saying, you might be able to avoid things like that or reduce it to the minimum, right? Using something like TypeScript along with your React. So in this case, right, in this class, I'm not sure we've not gone over TypeScript, but I would be using TypeScript and be explaining along with you guys as well. It's very difficult for me to um, use JavaScript these days because the language is actually very annoying. So I'll be using TypeScript in this case. So to create a React project, I'm going to be showing you the easy way to do things. I'm not a difficult person. I'm a soft boy. So the first thing you want to do is you want to install Node.js if you don't have it already. Like, so just search for Node.js. It's a very shameful thing the JavaScript people built, but we are here. We are going to use it. Okay, Lukman has a question. Yeah. Oh, Can Jamil say it? Let me try again. Mm-hmm. Crap. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I totally forgot. I totally forgot. I'm checking now. Recording. Okay, it's recording now. Actually, forgot about that. Okay, Lookman, you can see my screen now, right? Oh, that's interesting. Hmm. I'm thinking it's probably network from your hand. Okay. So yeah, I was saying you need to download Node.js first, right? Or if you already know JavaScript and you have one of their other abominations, which they call a runtime, I'm going to be shaming JavaScript a lot. Sorry, not JavaScript. JavaScript runtimes. I like JavaScript. I don't like the runtimes. It's a very, very weird relationship, but yeah. So you can download the Node runtime for JavaScript, right? So basically, you can think of Node as something that helps you to run JavaScript on on the on the server that helps you also output it to the client. Like I said, their relationship is very weird, but that is where we are find ourselves. They brought calm down, calm down. I'm trying to calm down. If you ask me to rant about JavaScript all day, I don't think I'll ever stop, but I'll try to calm down. Okay. So the latest version they have here is version 22, and it has long time support as well. You can download this, it's actually recommended. Then once you have that installed, you can open your VS Code and bring up your terminal like this. Then for me, I would navigate to the projects directory. I have okay, I have CWS here. Okay, then I would create a new directory called React. Okay, let me see. Okay, I would let me open the directory here. So I'll click on open folder here. Then I want to open the React folder. Okay, so I have this folder installed um, for React. So this way I'm going to be creating my own project, right? So I'm going to use um what there's a tool that comes with Node, right? So if you check my own PC, I think my Node version Node not found. That's weird. Hold on. How do I have Node and I don't have is very weird. Let me open this up again. I don't want to be too sure because it's looking like So basically, I don't have Node.js on my PC. Is what my laptop is trying to tell me now. Or maybe it's because did I actually install? Okay, then something else is actually wrong. Let me check. I did a change to my work environment recently, so it might have caused a lot of glitch. I think they actually did cause a boy. This just destroyed my setup. This just actually destroyed my setup. I have installed a plugin that has boy. This can be happening. I'm coming home. I need to check if I'm still alive. Okay, pre-ZS. These people are insane. I'm going to deal with them. These people are insane. Sorry, give me like just a few minutes to fix this. I hate when people make me work like this. So what I want to do is move .zshrc to to ZSHRC. For my OMZ, something like that. Then I would move Z. You guys be wondering what I'm doing. I don't really know how to explain it, to be honest. I installed this terminal plugin that is giving me this fancy interface. I installed the plugin recently, and it's basically messed up with my initial setup on my laptop. So that's what I'm trying to just fix now. So what I'm going to do is I would copy this, then I would do nano z. Sorry, I'm almost done. Sorry, guys. Uh, I was initially confused when it told me something like I don't have Node installed. I was like, I use Node at work, and I worked yesterday, so I should have Node installed. I haven't really worked since yesterday, anyways. Uh, okay, but then I'm actually confused though. I've been It's a weird thing because even after I installed this their plugin, I'm now trying to remember if I actually worked. No such file as ZRC. Let me see. Is Mohammed.z. Okay, OMZ. Yeah, the file exists now. Let me open another terminal to be sure. Hello. I would fix that one later. Let me just. And I was actually liking that plugin. Let me just remove it for now. Close this. Uh, Open another one. Close this one. Okay. So if I check my node version, yeah, everybody should be fine. And my npm version as well. Although for me, I have Node 20 installed here, and I'm just going to leave this. I don't want to mess up with things any further, right? So you can install Node 22 like they have on nodejs.com, but for me, I would be using my Node 20, right? So the first thing I want to do is I want to use npm to create my React project. So npm stands for Node Package Manager, at least, right? So what npm helps you do is there is a public repository called npmjs.com where people can publish where is packages. Let me just search for React. Where people can publish their JavaScript projects, right? So you can publish your JavaScript project here so that other people would be able to reuse it as well, right? So this is one of the places you can install. That is interesting. And I'm actually sharing my screen. It has. Mm, that is there though. Let me see where I can check. Okay. Mm, Walaikum salam. It's back now, right? I think it's network. Yeah. Because I'm trying to check. Uh, is my picture nice? I was just messing with you. But I don't know, I just checked even YouTube now. Like the screen is coming up on YouTube. Okay, let me share that in the chat. You can share it to WhatsApp. I just want to share it on this meeting chat. Yeah, you can help me share it to WhatsApp, Jamil. So there are a lot of ways to get started with React, like to create a React project, but I'll be using this method by using npm, then using a tool called vit or vite, anyhow you choose to pronounce it. There are too many annoying things you need to understand when it comes to JavaScript, and that is my major problem. Especially as a new person coming from HTML, there are too many things you need to understand. Anyways, I don't want to get into that for now. So to create a React project, I would come here and do npm create, then I would say vite. Then you can either add the name of your project, or since for I already created the project in this case, so I'll just tell it to create the React project in my current directory. So for me, it's going to ask me a couple of questions, and it's going to ask me which framework I want to set up. You see, there is an option to set up like a plain JavaScript project. There's Vue.js, there's React. To know how problematic these people are in JavaScript, there's React, there's Preact, then there's Lit, which is actually a different framework. I think it was built by Google or something. Then there's Belt, which is my favorite. Then there's Solid, Quick, Angular, and others. But in this case, I'm just going to go with React. Then they are going to ask me a bunch of other questions as well, right? So for me, I want to use TypeScript. I can either go with TypeScript alone or TypeScript plus SWC. Now, TypeScript alone is fine, but TypeScript with SWC is faster based on those people's opinion, and I think it's actually faster as well. So I'm going to go with TypeScript plus SWC. I'll click enter, then You see, to create a bunch of files for me that I don't know what is going on. We'll check that in a sec. But let me just change this. Okay. So if you check here, we have a couple of files. This is the configuration file. Did you say something? Mm. If you're talking, I can't hear you. Anyways, this is our configuration file. This bits.config.ts. Then we have this ts config. That's our TypeScript configuration. We have about three of them. Then we have a README file that just talks a little bit about the templates. I'm not going to go through this one. Then we have a package.json file, which is something the Node.js runtime people have decided to bless us with. So this place is just containing the instructions for how Node should manage your projects. So in this case, you have dependencies, right? Like you see, in this case, we have React and React DOM. So those are the two core dependencies you need to run React. Then you have dev dependencies, right? Which are things you only need when you are working locally on your laptop, like in development mode, that's locally, like I said earlier. And so these are the things you'll be needing along with the actual dependencies, right? So in production, these dev dependencies would not be added for you. They would be stripped out because they just help your developer experience locally. They don't have any big assistance in production. And in this case, you have scripts. So these are more like shortcuts for how you want to run your projects. For instance, you have this dev scripts that just runs the vite command like this, and it starts up the dev server for you. Then in production, you would want to do something like tsc -b and vite build. This would build your projects to a proper HTML file for you. Then we have the preview, which, like you said, it's just used to preview when you've built your project, I guess. Then the lint is to do linting features on your linting work on your projects. Then we have the linting configuration. Then we have the git ignore file. So when you are pushing to git, you don't push a lot of garbage you don't need. Then you have the src file, which is where we're spending much of our time. Then we have the public file, which mostly people use the public file to store assets like images, videos, fonts, whatever. That's because I think for some reason it's faster to reach in like on the browser when you put it in a public folder. For some reason, I don't know. Anyways, moving on, then we have the HTML file, which the way React works, it compiles all your JSX component. That's your that JSX thing I was telling you guys about. It compiles everything, then it injects it into an HTML file, which the JavaScript file itself, or let me say TypeScript, anyone it is, it has a way to initialize itself on the HTML page. It would now render itself inside this entry point with an ID of root, right? So inside this root HTML is where everything we would be doing would be injected automatically using our build tool, in this case, which is Vite. So since I have my project set up, the first thing I want to do is I want to do npm install. So this will help me install all the packages I need for my project to work. This is still installing. I know why that's taking time actually. I guess it's done now. After 5 years. Okay. Mm, then the first thing I want to show you guys here is the main.tsx file. If you recall what I said about the HTML file, let me zoom this a little bit. So if you recall what I said about the HTML file, right? You see there's a root component here with there's a div element here with the ID of root, right? And you can see in this case, React came here. These are our main React entry points, right? So every code we write is going to be compiled or injected to HTML through this method, right? So if you notice, this React create routes is from the React DOM itself. So it basically exactly what I was telling you guys about this NEPA people. So let me set up my extra laptop screen to I'll be back. I'll be back. Um okay. Mm, I'll temporarily stop sharing for a while, then I would share back. Um okay. What do I want to share? Okay. Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay. I think my screen should be able to see my screen now. I'm actually using something called a virtual screen. It's actually a very cool piece of software. Okay. Oh, yeah, no problem. Everybody's network is actually terrible. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to pull React. Okay. I think my screen is visible now. Okay. I believe you should be able to see my screen now, anyways. Um, Okay, so if you have questions, you could just maybe just maybe just speak up or something. Just unmute your mic and speak, because I might not be able to see your message immediately. Then, so what we have here, yeah. So what I was explaining earlier, right? Okay. So if you see this right side, you have HTML developments with the ID of roots. And on this side, you can see we are trying to create our roots app entry, right? We found the elements with the ID of roots, and we rendered our entire React app inside that root element. So that is what is happening now. So if we run this, let me run this so you can see. So if I do npm, yes, yes, it would be. And it's actually up now on. You can check the one on YouTube. I don't know. Were you able to access the one on YouTube? I was asking if you were able to access the live video on YouTube. Oh, yeah, sorry. You can always check it later though. That will be next Saturday, but we're having a back end session tomorrow, 5 p.m. the same time. Yeah, sure. You can join tomorrow as well. Hmm. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem at all. Okay, but Jamie, you understand what I was trying to explain with this root thing and stuff? So this strict mode is something from React. It has a couple of benefits, but the way it does it, it kind of gives you the same environment it will give in production. It's some in-depth behaviors. I think the one I can remember quickly is if you are in production, some things would happen like that. How do I put this? For instance, now you might be using some life cycle methods. We'll explain that in a bit, right? Maybe you're using some life cycle methods, and maybe inside that life cycle method, some code gets run twice. But when you get to production is using the strict mode, so it's only run it once or something, right? So just to have the same environment you would have in production and in development, it's advised to use the strict mode. Strict mode is what is used in production. So using it in development, like they said here, he said it lets you find common bugs in your components early during development. So it's more like it's giving you that kind of production environment while you're in development. That's the best way I can explain it. So with this format we have now, guys, if I do npm run dev, it's going to start the React. Let me bring a browser to this screen. Let me get a browser. Okay, quick start. Okay, awesome. So I would open. You can see that this in this case, right, the server is running on local host 5. 5173. So if I go to localhost 5173, you'll be able to see this page come up, right? This is where it's going to bring for you. This is the default React templates when you are using this pattern we are using. So if I go back to the code base and I check the content of this app folder, all right, there's this app.js file here. You would see a couple of components in here. We have Vice plus React, edit, count, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm going to do in this case, right, I'm going to delete everything and create another component from scratch. So what I want to do, right, I want to export um, the components as default. Then function, I'll define a function called app. Then I'm just going to return a simple HTML text. I would call this paragraph. Then let me just do lorem like this. Yeah, so this should change instantly. My laptop is acting very, very slow. So this should change instantly, like you can see in this case, right? So if you notice there's a background color, there are some things in there as well, right? So in my main.tsx file, this index.css file was imported, right? So I'm going to actually remove this. Okay, let me leave this actually. The one I want to delete is the .css because I don't want to use their own styling. So I will delete the app.css. And for the index.css, right, I'm going to clear everything. I'm going to save this. So if I open this back, you should see, yeah, the normal thing you would see when you open your standard HTML page on your browser. This is what you'd see normally. So from here, you can do a lot of cool things. You can anything you can do inside HTML. At least you should be able to do most of them, if not all of them, with this JSX pattern. So let me explain what we did here quickly. So we created a function in JavaScript called app, right? Then we exported it so that this main.tsx file would be able to import it from here, right? That was what we did. Then if you notice, we use this default syntax. You can either export functions or export any kind of resource in two ways. You can use something called a named export or a default export. So for a default export, you would have something like this. Import app from app.tsx. Actually, this can just be just app alone like this. Then you can now have let me separate this. Yeah, so import app from app dot from dot slash app. Since they are in the same folder, I use this syntax here to relatively reference them. Then app component was imported from here since we exported as default. So in this case, I will try to export the function as a default function in this case as a name function in this case. So I will do app like this, then export app. Then I'll come back here. The difference between exports in those two exports, right? In that case, I can do something like this. Instead of importing entire module, I can just use this brackets pattern like this brackets pattern to import it, just like they did in this case. Sometimes you want the default export, sometimes you want the named exports. But in my opinion, I always prefer named exports, right? Always prefer the name export. So I'm just going to leave it as this. Then I'll take out this default exports like this. Then I would save the file. You can see everything we have should still be the same, right? From here, from what you can see here, you just refresh. So everything you have is still going to be the same thing, right? Then what else do we have? Yeah, you see we have this folder called assets. We have React XV file in there. I'm going to delete that folder actually because I don't think we would be needing that as well. So I think before imagine 1 hour is up already. But do you have questions, Jamil? Mm, no, no problem. No. I don't want to take this too fast. Even understanding the entire setup of this project is going to actually be paramount. So let me see if there is something else I can go through as well. But in the project setup, are there things you need to understand before we move on? No problem. All right then. All right then. So I don't want to take time. I don't want to go beyond the time I stipulated for the class because I'm actually very busy. So so if you have more questions or anything, you could just send it in the group chat or just notify me in my DM or just anywhere at all. Awesome, awesome. So yeah, I would catch you next week as well as everybody that watched from wherever they watched from, if they watched. All right then. Yeah.